Welcome to TNT, baby, the naked truth with Taylor Armstrong, where I'm going to expose everything about my life, and my guests are going to come on, get naked with me, and bear it all. Now, let's get naked. I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think open relationships ever really work?
Yeah, or is it a recipe for disaster? I would have to go with the latter.
Yeah. I am thinking it must just fuel lack of trust and insecurity and all kinds of things it would make me feel. I had a friend
Yeah.
a long time ago who was a divorce attorney, and she had an open marriage. And I thought, well, that's so progressive, I guess, especially considering she's a
Right.
divorce attorney. So she is in this every day. And her perspective was that if you give all this freedom, then it keeps you from getting divorced because then it's not cheating.
Oh, I don't know about that. It is progressive, right? But the thing is, okay, and I don't know. It's also a matter of like, do you love this person? Like, are you in love with this person? Is this person your soulmate or your twin flame? Like, you can't have a open relationship with your twin flame. And like, if both people are truly like think like this is the love of my life, like everything like I could ever want in a person, I'm so obsessed with them because I love them so much. Like, I don't think they want to have an open relationship. I mean, I think that when people want an open relationship, I think it's because they like what they have, but maybe like 60%, and they still want the other 20%, but they don't want to completely be alone. So they don't want to like leave what they have to go search for what they really want. So they just want to eat their cake and have it too, pretty much.
Ooh, that's
Don't
an
you think?
interesting way to look at it.
It's
Is they
like,
don't want to give up the security of what they have, but they
yeah,
are not 100% invested in their
they
marriage
can't
or their
commit.
relationship. But also, I have to imagine that the majority of the time, it's one person's idea that we have an open
Yeah.
relationship, open marriage, because
Yeah.
I don't think both people are just going to come up with that and be cool with it. I feel like one person's getting hurt by
Yeah, I mean,
agreeing to
unless
it.
both people are just having fun and they don't really care, or like you're young or maybe you're like not, it's all about like goals. I don't think there's any right one way, but I do think like if one person wants to get married and build a family and the other person's just having fun and they're like, let's have an open relationship. And then the one who really like loves them and wants to like actually get married and has like long-term goals for the relationship is says okay because they want to keep the relationship, then that's a problem, right? So it's like, it's because that's going to go bad no matter what. Now, both people are kind of like, hey, we have a really good time together. We have great chemistry. You're not who I want to marry, but we could have some real good fun and do whatever, whoever's idea of a lot of fun that is. To me, it just seems like a lot to worry about, and the logistics aren't right. I mean, the imagination of it seems so much better and sexy than the reality of it. Then it's like I always just default to no, thank you. But, like, I mean, some people do have, like, long-term, like, quadruple thruples, what do they call them? Relationships,
Thruples?
thruples, yeah, where there's, like, 3 people and it's not, like, just open relationship, they're, like, in a relationship with each other. That
Oh,
has
that's
its
interesting.
that has its own dynamic also, right? But then open relationship, like, where I tell you, and I have friends that have those relationships too, where they have, like, rules.
That's what I was going to say. You would have to have rules and boundaries on it.
Like we met somebody recently that was telling us about how him and his husband can have they have an open relationship. He just wants to know, he wants to see a picture of whoever he's hooking up with and wants to know where they're going to be.
I don't want to see the picture.
No,
Because then they're like, okay, I'm going to go out with this other person tonight. Here's what they look like, and this is what we're going to go do.
Right.
I would be so fixated the whole entire night as to what they're doing, and if they're having more fun together than he or she would have with me, I would make me crazy. There's no way I could handle that.
But then does that break into fetishes?
Yeah.
Like, right, does it? Like, why do you want a picture?
Why do
Like,
you
what
want
are
the
you going to
picture?
do, like, with that imagery? Because you're, like, actually affecting yourself, right? Like, you're affecting what you imagine, what you see, what you're... I, like, as I get older, I literally, like, and I say to my kids all the time, I go, protect your brain. Protect your brain, like, because everything that you see and that you think and that you put, like, it affects you in different ways, right? Like, you think you're okay with it. Like, when I was younger, I thought I was okay, like, with my boyfriend, like, doing whatever he wanted. And, like, or I didn't feel like I had the right to say, like, hey, you better not cheat on me, you know? But, like, now that I'm older, I'm like, dude, if you can't just figure out how to not be a cheater, like, that's, like, the bare minimum.
100%. Yeah, I'm not jealous at all. And
Yeah,
so, which kind of makes people crazy a little
yeah,
bit. I would have been paranoid maybe when I was younger if I
right.
thought my boyfriend could potentially cheat on me just because my self-esteem was so low. But now I'm like, dude, if you want to cheat, just leave. Like, do me a favor.
Well, yeah,
Just
because
don't,
it's
because I'm not
about
going to
a
think
lot
about
more
it.
than that. And that's the thing is like we've really taken um the beauty of being with somebody or sexuality and kind of diminished it by making it so readily available and not as really special. And like, well, we don't want it to be special. Well, we don't want it to be special because we don't want to admit that because that would require responsibility out of us and that would require all these other things, right? And you go into like this long detail of like why we make excuses in our own heads. But in the end of the day, there's literally studies about like women that have had tons of sexual partners or too many or, 50, 100 sexual partners that their desire for sex lessens, that it becomes less actually emotionally bonding. It actually loses all of its physical, you know, things that it's supposed to do, like releasing oxytocin and all these things in your brain. Like it doesn't release the same amount of oxytocin, right? And so it actually hurts you and you're processing chemically. Like your chemicals, we're all controlled by our chemicals,
Right.
right? So it's like you have to make choices. You have to protect your brain. You have to protect yourself from experiences that do affect you negatively. Like you think you're okay with it, being discarded or whatever. Like we're human. Not everyone's okay with like just waking up and rolling out. You can create that shell because like somebody can let you down or you have abandonment issues or whatever it is it's coming from. You don't want to admit or feel like it's one-sided, right? So I think it's important to develop like real relationships with people, know who they are, respect the little things, actually want to know what their quirks are, what they like, who they are as people. Like I think that's part of the thing with even when I was dating, like I became just kind of numb to, I didn't want to hear anyone else's story. I didn't really care about their kids or their ex-wives. It's like, oh my God, it's the same story over and over again. I like had to force myself to like care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, cause you get like numb to all the different dating people and everyone just starts to seem the same and no one seems special. And so you have to actually choose to see the special things in a person.
I think with the open relationship,
Yeah.
to your point, I would have to imagine you would have a little FOMO because you don't, you would create something. I believe I would create something in my mind that
Yeah.
they're just having the time of their life.
Yeah.
And chances are they're just having a regular date and, just talking like you would on a normal date. But I think in my mind, I would create something like they're having way more fun together than he or she would have with me.
Yeah.
And then I would create something. And by the time they got home, I would be a total mess. I couldn't handle.
It's so hard because like, oh, I'm a Gemini like you, right? So I can't be all one way. Like I can totally see that lifestyle, right? Where it's like free love and everything's cool and we all love each other and I'm not worried about it. Like obviously like I have a very like classic way of thinking, right? Because in a relationship. Now if you decide to be not in a relationship, like if my something happened to my husband tomorrow, I wouldn't be like looking for a serious relationship with anybody again, probably,
You would just be
right?
like a serial dater.
Yeah, I would just be focusing on my own life. And then if I have somebody that I really get along with that we could like travel or do fun things with or whatever, I mean, I'd probably want that person to be consistent, but I don't think I'd ever want to like move in with them and figure out whose clothes is taking over the closet.
Right.
It's like you just want to have fun at that point and companionship. But I think that it's like such a bigger question and it's all about like what your personal goals are like in your life, like for your relationship, right? I think where it starts making trouble is when people don't communicate and they have different end goals and that's how you get hurt. Yeah.
Well, and so with the girl that I know I guess I should say, with the girl that I know who has had the open relationship, I would ask her, well, what happens if one of you falls in love? And
That's the
then
thing.
is the open relationship just like you can go out with somebody once, but you're not going to have like a totally long-term relationship while you're in yours with the open relationship, which I guess goes back to you develop the rules and the boundaries and figure out what those are.
Right.
And she was like, oh, but it doesn't work like that. Well, fast forward, they got divorced because she fell in love with somebody she went out with
Of
during the open
course.
relationship.
But that's the whole thing with cheating. It's not even just the act of cheating. It's how it affects your whole life outside of that. And I think most people that have been cheated on, actually, like as one of them, it's not the act of cheating that's upsetting. It's the fact that you wanted to change our whole lives. Like you took it upon yourself to cheat and create a situation into where like I can't respect myself publicly. because I know that you did this. Or our friends, like, you don't care if you mess up our whole lives, like how our kids interact with each other, or how our friendships with all of our friends, like our that we are not going to have our movie nights anymore. We're not going to do, like, you don't care that our life as we know it is over. Or I have to accept being disrespected because I never agreed to it, right? And I have to accept that and then not like myself because I kept loving you even though you totally disrespected me.
I know that is a really hard decision,
Yeah.
because after you know that someone cheated and then trying to decide whether you're going to try to make it work, I just don't know if you could ever put it out of your head completely.
Right? I
I
mean,
mean,
well, you can't. It's a literal impossibility. You're everything from that point on is an exception. And that's why you hate them. That's why you resent them. It's not because they had sex one night with some random person. It's because they didn't care about your life together or what you built or where you're at, and they just didn't care about what it meant to be together. And so, like, that's the thing, is like when people actually get married or they're in a marriage type of commitment, it's like you're saying, hey, I love you enough, like we're building this life together, which requires a lot of trust, because you're talking about finances, your livelihood, paying bills, children, child rearing. Like, you're going to throw your whole life away over it. And that's why I think a lot of people actually forgive um their, whoever's cheating, because they don't want to affect their life, and because they love them still, right? But you can't make the pain and the cheating and the envisioning them and whoever together, and the, like, I mean, it brings out the worst in you, because all of a sudden now you're like, no matter how you look at it, if you're in a committed relationship and somebody cheats, you're like, and no matter how ridiculous you think it is, like, it's not me, and no matter how many people tell you it's not you, you're so good to him or you're so good to her, and like all these things, like, you feel like you're not good enough. So you become just
absolutely.
not good enough, and you feel broken, because it's like now everything you thought is the same, and now your sex life isn't as good as it used to be, because every time you're now having sex with your husband or your committed partner, you're like somehow thinking about him having sex with whoever this girl is, which is why you
100%.
can't see the picture.
Exactly why I would not want to see the picture. I find that so
It's like
interesting that
so
he told
bad.
us that the other day, that he likes to see the picture
Yeah.
before his
But
partner
I
goes
think
out
that
with
gets
someone
into like
else.
a weird kind of fetish thing. Like maybe he likes to imagine them together.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
You know what I mean? Or something. There
I
has
was
to be
think
some kind of psychological thing with that.
I was thinking that because both of them, because they live in a tight community, and I
Yeah.
was thinking maybe it's so they don't both go out with the same person, not knowing
That could
in their
happen
open
too.
relationship.
That could be a reason
Like, make sure
too.
we put them all on the board, and then
Yeah.
we just make sure that we don't overlap
Let's not
at all.
overlap.
But definitely, I would think by the end of the date, when this person that went out on an open relationship date comes home, I would be a basket case, and I would have a million questions, which would just spiral out of
So what
control.
you just said right there is also interesting, because I don't think in an open relationship are you just dating? Or are you legit like hooking up on Tinder? You already have it arranged and you're just going straight to a hotel room. Like, what's really happening in an open relationship? Because I definitely 100% do not want my husband, boyfriend, whatever committed partner to be dating. To me, like, dating is worse than a drunken one night stand, because you're sitting there, you're
Yeah.
like sharing intimate thoughts, you're like, dreaming together, you're like, all of the exciting things, that excitement's going on. And that's like so much worse than just a mistake.
And all the butterflies and all those feelings that have
Yeah.
subsided in
The
your
exciting part.
relationship with the person you're all with all the time,
Yeah.
all that stuff is long gone. And
Yeah.
now they're having it again, just that
Yeah.
super endorphin
And so how does
excitement.
that happen? Like, how's that going to turn out? That's going to be a divorce paper for sure. That's why I don't understand, like, when people have open relationships with another person for like 5 years, and then that almost goes into like okay, we're like sister wives, but we never met, or something like that. I mean, where they have like 5 year relationships with their other.
Right. That's what I was saying. Is it just, okay, you can go on a date with someone else? Or I guess that's where the rules come in, right?
Yeah.
You can go on a date with someone. You can't go on 5 dates with them, because then now it's a relationship. Or you
Right.
can go on a date with someone, but you can't have sex with them. And then is that just a friendship? So now you just really have another friend that you're hanging out with. I
Right.
mean, so I don't know if, I don't
And
know
then your
where,
spouse is like, why can't I hang out with them? I'm just kidding. You're like, because it doesn't work.
I know the whole thing is
You're like,
fascinating
because I
to
enjoy
me.
the sexual tension, honey. I mean, like, I just don't understand. I mean, this is the thing. It's obviously not sustainable, right? But then you look at what 90% of relationships are. I mean, there isn't, I mean, there's a high divorce rate. It's not that actually that high. A lot of people do stay married. But I mean, a lot of relationships aren't sustainable.
Yeah, right. Well, and then maybe it gets to the point where your relationship is in turmoil. And so rather than what you said earlier, rather than completely divorcing, you want to
Right.
stay partnered, but you need something to liven up your relationship to make it interesting enough to stay together.
Right. And
So
if
you
it's two
start,
people and they make that agreement and they're both seeing other people, because sometimes it's, both of them agree and they want to see other people, like, why are they even staying together? I think the majority of the time that these kinds of choices are totally financial.
oh, that's it.
I
Yeah,
mean, I think
that makes sense.
financial independence 100% drives the majority of relationship choices.
Well, and kids too.
Yeah,
Yeah. If you have children at home and then it's like, okay, our
absolutely.
relationship is falling apart. We need something to spice it up.
Right.
So then if you're trying to stay together for the kids and the finances, which is so common,
Right.
and then you agree, let's give this a roll and just see if it helps to make us more interested in each other
Hmm.
because we're going out and meeting other people. And then
Right.
maybe you meet somebody else and you realize that your partner is actually a pretty good person and they're
Right.
pretty fun to be around.
Hmm.
So I don't know, maybe that's helpful. Maybe some
I
kind of a
think
weird therapy
No, I think I pretty much did that several times with my husband. Like, we
with your
dated.
first husband.
Yeah, no, with my current husband, because we broke up I mean, we've been together for 14 years now, 13, 14 years now. But we had two stints where I broke up with him. And both times, and I started dating other people, and both times I really appreciated him. So I mean, I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, I'm so lucky. This guy like loves me so much." Right? So, I
Yeah.
mean, not just loves me. When I say loves me, I mean he over compliments me. I've had friends be like, "He's obsessed with you. He just loves you so much." And I go, "But I don't find anything wrong with it, actually. It's
No,
actually really nice to have somebody that really cares about you, or cares that you like took your medication, or like that you go to your doctor's appointment, or did you get your eyes checked this year, or like just little things like that. Like, it's like they remember and they actually care and they're present."
he cherishes you.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
nice.
it is nice.
I
And he
don't
is very complimentary of you.
Yeah, he is, and I don't think that that has to be like some kind of sick, weird obsession. Maybe he just actually loves me because he hasn't been tainted in 20,000 relationships. Like, he was married for 24 years. He had three kids with the same woman. Like, it wasn't like he had like all these serious relationships before me. That's why I'm like if we ever broke up, I would definitely be the one that broke his heart, and he would probably not treat the next girl as nice.
Aw.
I know. It's like
Well, and then if you're in the open relationship and each of you are dating other people, does there come a time when the four of you get together? I guess that's when it switches over into being swingers.
then you're like full blown swingers, and maybe
Swingers, right?
yeah, you're just bored.
Four.
I feel like all of these things are phases. Like, you do this, like, I don't know. I think we should find somebody to interview that's like a lifelong swinger. Like, I was 21 and my whole life I was like, and now she's like 80, right? Or
Right?
70 something. And like, yeah, I'm still into swinging. That would be interesting to me. I feel like some of these things are just like you're bored in your life or you're looking for something and it's just a phase. Maybe it's like you meet another couple and something gets weird one night. I don't know. And then you go through like this weird phase and you guys never talk to each other again 6 months later. Like, I don't know.
I feel like if something like that happened and you're friends with this couple and then you all of a sudden you guys are at someone's house having dinner and the next thing you know, like the four of you hook up, I feel like you would not be friends anymore because it would be so
Oh
awkward.
no, it would be
Like
so
it would be
weird.
so weird after that. And the other thing, so living in LA for as
Yeah.
long as I did, I never was approached by swingers,
Right.
being married and everything there.
Yeah.
Even when I had boyfriends and stuff, no one ever brought that up. And you
Right.
would think LA, if it's going to happen, it probably would happen there.
Right.
And then when I moved to Vail, Colorado, it's like a thing there.
Really?
Yes, there's a lot of swinging going on. And I was shocked
It's like
because
Palm
it's like
Springs.
Vail. I mean, it just didn't seem like the place that I would see it happening. Like, literally, there's a neighborhood there called Singletree, and everyone calls it Swingletree.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I mean, there's tons of
They
couples.
do that whole weird thing where they put the pineapple. Have you heard, like, if you put an upside down pineapple like on your house or wear a shirt or something, it means you're a swinger?
Yeah, I
don't
think
know.
they do that on cruises too. You put something outside your cruise door when they have like swingers cruises and stuff. You put something outside your door that means you're open to certain things with
Wow.
with other couples. But that would be even more weird because these are just random couples that you've never met before, and now you're all on a cruise together and everybody's having fun.
I don't know. It might be
That's
way better to be
that's
random.
more like an orgy, I think. I don't know, but So when I first moved to Vail, I didn't know about all the swinging that was
Right.
going on. And
Right.
I was kind of like suspect about a few things that happened. So we had this couple come over to our house for
You
dinner.
gotta hear this.
And this normal couple, their daughter was over, like hanging out with my daughter earlier in the day. Then the nanny took their daughter and my daughter somewhere, and they're at our house. And the husband says to me, "Oh, I want to see your wedding album." And I'm like, okay, said by
Like,
no
that's
man
weird.
ever. I mean, I don't even want to look at somebody's wedding album. When people go, "Do you want to see my wedding album?"
Even your
I'll,
girlfriends
like,
don't
I'll
ask
look at
to
like
look at your
3
wedding
pictures
album.
if you want. I'm not looking at your whole wedding album. But he really wanted to. Well, I thought he really wanted to look at it, which I thought was bizarre. But so then he takes me over like by the fireplace, and we're just sitting on the edge of the fireplace, and we're going through the pictures. He's asking me all kinds of questions about every picture, which I thought was very bizarre.
Like, this is
And
weird.
I mean, I thought it was weird, but I wasn't thinking that far into it.
Right.
And then his wife says to my husband, "Will you show me around the house? And I want to see the rest of the house." And so it was like 2-story house. And John's like, "Sure." So he starts showing her around.
That's so weird.
And she's kind of keeping him in the rooms, asking lots of questions about the rooms and like the furniture, just a lot of detail. And then all of a sudden I started getting this really weird feeling like something is definitely, they're dividing
Like,
and
something
conquering.
is happening
They're
right
totally
now.
dividing us for a reason. And it went on for a really long time where John's just showing her around the house. And I was like, this is fucking weird. And so then when they came
Like,
back,
your gut knows.
yeah, all of a sudden it
Yeah.
totally radar went
Right.
off. And so then when they came back, John and the woman said, "Oh, we should just spend the night here," to her husband. And they're staying in a hotel in Vail. And I'm thinking, well, no, I don't know why we should just spend the night here. You should probably go back to your hotel.
You're like, no, actually.
Where your daughter and her nanny are.
You
Like,
should
I don't,
not.
what do you mean spend the night? It was so bizarre. And I think
Like, you don't invite them. They just suggest it, like, in
yeah,
that
but also
way.
Vail's a small place. It's not like it was that far for them to go
That
back
was her
to their
putting it out there, waiting for you to say, like, yeah, you should spend the night.
totally. And then it became super awkward, and it is a little bit hard to get, like, they wouldn't have Ubers in Vail back then. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit hard to get transportation. It can snow
Right,
and all that kind of
right.
stuff. So they were like, well, we can't get a hold of anybody to come get us. So we'll keep trying. And they just kept lingering and lingering. And like, I was like, these people are never leaving. It was so weird. And the conversation got weird.
Oh
And
my
then the next thing I
gosh.
know, they're spending the night. And so she sleeps, there's a bedroom, our bedroom, and then next to our bedroom is an office, but it had a Murphy bed.
Yeah.
But there's other bedrooms everywhere.
Right.
And she's like, "I'm just going to sleep in this room with the Murphy bed," which is attached to the master's. And so like there's a master bathroom in between the two.
Right.
And she's like, "I want to sleep in this room." And her husband wants to sleep downstairs because in Vail it's opposite. Your main floor is on the top. And
right.
so I'm like, why are they
That's
sleeping in
strange.
different rooms? And why does she want to be in the bedroom that's attached to our master bathroom? The whole thing was completely fucking
Oh my gosh,
weird.
this actually reminds me of the weird girl that you ended up at your house. Was like your old friend, like one of John's old friends brought this young girl over. Remember this story?
Yes. And
like
she
you
was,
guys, because I think because you know all these crazy people.
this is why I think I'm
like,
crazy.
I've never heard anything like this in my life. But that was
It's
like
insane.
crazy. This girl was like hitting on John. You have to tell this story because it was just unbelievable to me.
Yeah, one of my friends was in town. Our friends, I should say, was in town, and he brought this girl he
Because
was
I feel like that
dating.
was a swinger. That was like she wanted it to turn into something.
I think you're absolutely right. And she
Yeah.
was young
Yeah.
and kind of scantily clad. And she's with my friend from LA. And then my friend from LA is like, "Oh, we're just going to stay down here tonight," because they want to
Right.
drive.
Yeah.
They've been drinking, whatever. And he stays at our house whenever
the
he's
time.
in
Yeah.
town. So they're in the downstairs bedroom, and John's in the kitchen the next morning, and the girl comes in, and she's like nothing on. She's in her bra and some shorts, and no, her skirt from the night before, mini skirt from the
Oh
night
my
before, and her
God.
bra. And she comes into John, and she's like, "Oh, can I get some coffee?" And then she's like, "I'll do anything. Is there anything you want me to do for you?" And because I'll do anything
In your bra.
in your bra, in my kitchen while I'm upstairs sleeping.
That's just a crazy, like,
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
And then all of a sudden I heard like this weird moaning noise, and just like, I thought it was maybe my neighbor's dog, because it almost sounded like painful.
Yeah.
And my neighbor's dog can be a little whiny at times.
Yeah.
And so I can hear this like whining noise, and I'm up in my bedroom upstairs, and I'm thinking, I better look over the balcony and make sure the dog's okay, whatever's going on. So I look over my balcony, and she's laying with her legs up in the air on the edge of the hot tub, making all kinds of crazy noises. Like she was having an orgasm or
Yeah,
something.
she's
and
totally like living in the
whining.
moment
Like
in
it
your
was
backyard.
so weird. I seriously think she was in our backyard, like
Because I know
fondling
you were
herself.
shocked. Because when you talked to me, you were like, "Oh my god, this woman is totally crazy."
Okay, but then I'm like, how am I getting her out of here? And I was
Yeah.
thinking, she's got to be on drugs or something. It's first thing in the morning, and she's at my house, and she's clearly
And this
playing
is
with
the girl
herself.
that your husband's friend or business
Yeah, just some
associate
girl that
brought. Yeah.
was dating like a couple times my
Yeah.
other friend.
Oh my
So
God.
I'm like, I called downstairs to John. I'm like, what is going on with this girl in the backyard? Like, you have to get her out of here.
Yeah.
And the guy she's dating was on a conference call, and John's like, I don't know what to do about it because he's on a conference call. And I'm like, get her. Then I started panicking because I'm like, this girl's got to be on drugs or something.
Yeah.
This is my problem, because I let people into my house. It's the same thing I'm dealing with my assistant that I can't get out of my house.
Okay, now that story is an ongoing saga. And we just
Still.
have to break apart for a second on this saga because one, she's been there way too long because you have a big heart and she had a baby and you didn't want to like have to let her go because she had the baby. Then she didn't have the baby. I don't know where the baby was staying, but it was like she was going to leave, but then she didn't leave. And then I don't know, she was still there, but not really there. Like all her stuff is there, but sometimes she's not there. And she never tells you when she's coming and when she's going
No.
now. So it started out as like an assistant job. Then it just turned into like, I live in your house.
Yeah.
And I come and go when I want.
Right.
And if you ask me to do anything, I'm going to tell you no.
Yeah. Or like eye roll and give me like a,
like another
like my
teenage
daughter would do.
Like you have
Exactly.
another
I'm like,
teenager
wait a minute, you live here for
with
free
your baby
and
for free.
Yeah. And then it's like, she doesn't do anything for me, zero.
Okay.
And so you actually helped me craft a 30-day notice
Yes.
termination
Yes.
for the fact that you do nothing, first of all. And I
Right.
need you to not, because
To
I have
pack
to
and
get,
go.
I have to get an assistant that can do something for
Right.
me. And so you need to, here's 30-day notice. And you were like, it should be two weeks. And I'm like, okay, no, I'm going to give her 30 days.
Yeah, but it's been way over 30 days now.
It's been like 3 months since I
Okay.
gave her the 30-day notice.
Yeah, no, and I know she knows how to like pull on your heartstrings, right? So you're like, okay. But then you come home and there's like literally two hoodlums. I mean, they were hoodlums,
In my house.
women in the house where you just walk in and you're like, who are you people? They were clearly high or drunk or on drugs or
Yes.
something. Then you tell them, who are you? And to leave. And then you get the video from your neighbor.
Right. So I'm literally sitting in my living room watching TV, and these two girls all of a sudden just appear in my living room. And by the way, the assistant's not home and hasn't been home for like a couple weeks.
Right.
And it was kind of one of those things where it was so shocking. I didn't know what was happening in the moment. 'Cause
Like,
all
am
of a
I being
sudden
robbed or
these-
not? Or
Right.
what's
These
happening?
two girls are just standing there. And I'm like, who are you?
Like, you guys could have shot them.
Right.
Like, you just
100%.
walk in the house.
I mean,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, well, she said we can stay in her room tonight. And I'm like, no, you can't just random people staying in my house. I mean, first of all, I have a child.
Right.
And also, I have no idea who these people are. Like, are they going to rob me? It was
Right.
really a scary moment because I
Yeah.
was just so shocked and taken aback. And they're like, well, we're not leaving. I'm like, but you are leaving.
No, yeah, but you can't be here.
No,
like,
there's two options.
She
You
doesn't
can
even really
leave peacefully,
live there.
or you can leave another way. And so, like, I'm gonna call the cops, and this is not funny. And so, like, it was hard to get them out of the house. But the fact that she told them they could just walk right into my house and go stay in her room,
without calling you or letting you know.
no, 100%. And plus, I wouldn't have said yes anyway. These are two complete strangers. And she had done this before. She let another couple stay in my guest room without me knowing it. And John walked by the room and saw this random couple in our house. And he's like, who are you? Like, how did you get in our house? I mean, talk about taking advantage, like beyond belief.
This is beyond, it's actually beyond insane. Like,
it is so beyond. And I don't know what I'm going to do. And
oh my gosh.
I know you were like, well, let's just move all of her stuff out. But
Oh, I was like, just pack it. I mean, like literally, if her stuff is in the house, she has rights. Remember? And when I said to you, she's going to totally pull some squatters' rights stuff because whatever. And then you're like, what did you say? Oh yeah, she's like, she said, what did she say to you that was so crazy?
I said, you have to leave. Like,
And she
this
was
has
like,
been
no, I don't
over
even
and
have
over
to
and
or
over. Like,
something.
she
Yeah.
said, well, legally I don't have to, but I will. And I'm like, oh no.
You're like, here we go. It's about
Here
to
you
get
go.
really crazy.
Yeah, and also she has so much stuff at the house that I don't want to move her stuff out
It's
because
like-
I don't. That shouldn't be on me. I mean, I don't understand. And then she'll be then like a few weeks ago, she said she was going to be out by Thursday. Well, that was a few weeks ago, and
Yeah.
nothing has been moved.
No, I mean, like literally the only way you're going to actually get her out of the house is to put her stuff out of the house and change the locks.
Well, and that's the other thing. I've been so nice.
I mean,
and not
you're going to
change the
have to get
locks.
pushed to the edge of where
I'm pretty-
I know you're not doing it because you feel bad, right? Like you don't want to be that person and you're being pushed into being a person that you don't want to be. And so like that's the hard part. But the truth is like those types of personalities will like they're not going to do anything until you literally are pushed to your max.
Well, and I haven't changed the
Yeah.
locks because I want her to be able to come and get her stuff.
Right.
And then if I change the locks, I feel like she'll be able to go, well, I couldn't get in, because you
right,
changed
and then
the locks.
she's going to get the police to come get her belongings, it's
Right.
like
You've locked my stuff up. And
Yeah.
so I'm just in a rock and a hard place. So I guess at this point, I'm just going to have to deal with my attorney. It's such a shame, though, because it didn't have to go to this.
No.
And I've been so lenient, first of all, with her for months of not doing anything.
But also the video that your neighbor sent you of these
exactly.
girls. You got to tell me.
Yeah. So after we finally get the girls to leave,
Yeah.
the next thing I know, my neighbor is calling because he is pulling up to his driveway from a flight, and the two girls are on the ground fist fighting.
Like literally, I saw the video, and it was like out of like 911 or like
it was totally like one of those shows.
These girls were like in jean cutoff shorts, like rolling in tank tops, totally drunk, rolling across the floor in front of your house, and your neighbor is like filming it, and I'm like, oh my god, what is really going on? Like
it was like a scene from Cops.
It was so much worse than I thought it was when you told me what was happening. I saw the videos and I was like, it's a scene from Cops. Like this is as bad as it can get.
And so my neighbor's girlfriend's filming it, and you can see my neighbor in the view, right?
Oh my gosh.
And the girl, he's like, you have to leave. Like, who are you? I'm going to call the cops. And so the one girl goes over and gets in my neighbor's face and starts to pushes him.
Yeah.
And he's like,
God.
what is happening? I mean, this is like a venture capitalist, my next door neighbor, and his girlfriend
you're
coming back from a trip
and you're
from
like
Hawaii.
in a gated community in Dana Point.
Yeah, and also
Totally
clearly
weird.
my assistant gave them the gate code to my gated community, which the whole thing, I'm like, what is happening in my life right now? I've had enough trauma.
Why would she? That's like if I just met somebody like on the street or whatever, and I was like, oh my gosh, my friend Taylor has an extra room. You could totally stay there. Here, this is her address. Here's the gate code. Just go in and let them know I said you could stay.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah.
And then the fist fight in the street. And I don't know why they were fighting with each other. I'm confused about that too. They came in together, so I don't know.
They paid her or something? Like maybe they like paid her to stay there or something? Like why would they think they didn't have to leave?
I have no idea. The whole thing has been so bizarre, but I'm really
so bizarre.
Stuck. I don't know. And I'm going to get an attorney and then sue her? And what am I going to sue her for? She doesn't have anything.
I know.
And
it's just,
I don't want anything from her. I just want her to get out. It's just, I'm in such a bad position.
It's so bad.
And then now she's just avoiding coming over because I think she thinks if she comes over, then I'm going to have the police come. And I do have a bodyguard that I've used in the past. And I talked to him and I just said, on the day she decides, hopefully, to finally come over and get her stuff, I want him there.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be there. So I just want him to be there so she knows there's someone actually with eyes on. Because I have a lot of stuff in my house. And I don't want her to conveniently add extra thing to her boxes.
Yeah.
I mean, if she's willing to do this, who's to say she's not willing to steal from me?
She's probably already got all kinds of stuff you don't know about.
That's why I keep my closet locked.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, because honestly.
Well, but, there's still stuff, just like expensive, stemware and things that she could just easily walk off with.
Yeah, but she probably wouldn't because, where's she going to put it?
I don't know. I don't know where she's putting anything. I just need for her to get out. I'm just, so over this.
I feel like we need to get a group of people to just come over to your house and, just take care of it. It just needs to get taken care of. Needs to get taken care of,
It's
right?
so frustrating. And it's just, I don't even want to deal with it. I'm just avoiding the whole
all
thing.
the stuff.
Move it and then put it where? I don't know. In a moving truck and then just leave it sitting outside with the keys or something.
Or on the side of the house or in one of those pods that cost money. I just, if somebody's renting from you, I think you have legally, you have to actually store their things outside of the, say you're renting a house and you can't afford the rent anymore and you didn't move all your stuff out and they come to get you. And the police come and get you out of your house, you have to actually take all their belongings and put them in storage, I think 60 days legally.
Oh.
And then if they don't collect them from storage, then they just lose their things.
Well, but she's living with me for free. So I wonder how that happens. I didn't have to call my attorney. I really didn't have to go down this path. But that's the only thing. I need legal advice on this one.
Yeah, especially since she just clearly doesn't think she has to move her stuff. And then now she's got all her stuff there, and she thinks if she doesn't show up or she can keep avoiding your hours and stuff in person, then she doesn't have to deal with it. It's just buying more time. Because honestly, I think she doesn't know what to do with all her stuff.
I think I was wondering the other day, is it if she sees that both John and I are not home, if that's when she comes? Because she has to be getting more clothes. I mean,
how do you not see her every day you don't see her? But all her stuff is there.
And I took our cameras down. I probably shouldn't say that out loud, but I should have them back up so I can see if she's coming or going. I took them down because I got freaked out when people were saying like you're being watched if you have those cameras and all that, by other parties. And
or like they're somehow like getting into the feed or whatever.
Right. It's a little scary.
It's probably true, but
I don't know. I guess I'll keep you updated, but
oh my God, we totally veered so much on this conversation, but I think it was good because honestly, you have to take care of this assistant thing, right? And then I don't know how we went from I don't know how we went from what is it?
We were talking about swingers, but all of a sudden it was just like, oh, I know, because the weird lady that stayed in my house that night with her husband when I didn't want them to stay, and all of a sudden I'm like, why are these people even here? But that's it.
You always end up with people in your house.
I do all the time.
They love your house because your house is beautiful, so they're probably like, oh my God, this house is so big and it's so beautiful, and she has extra rooms, so it's right by the beach. We don't need to go anywhere.
What difference does it make? It's just one room. She doesn't even go in there.
I always make jokes with my mother-in-law all the time because everyone in the family, when something goes wrong or somebody loses a job or whatever, they always end up living with her. Right. And I'm like, that's what you get for having the big house. Like, if you have an extra room, everyone's going to be wanting to stay with you.
And a big heart.
Yeah. And a big heart. You don't know how to say no.
Yes. That is my biggest problem overall. I'm a people pleaser. But to your point, too, she's pushing me too far. And I went about it the nice way. Like, you know what? This isn't working out for you or me. And I really need an assistant that can be efficient and help me with things.
She's not even an assistant at this point. I don't even know.
Squatter.
Yeah. She's not even a house guest. She's a squatter.
She is a squatter.
Taylor,
totally.
That's what she is.
She is. And now I just feel completely used. And my personality being such a people pleaser, which gets me in trouble all the time, and I need to grow out of this, is I let people push me and push me and push me and push me, and then my fucking head blows off.
And then then you're like crazy.
Yeah. And then
you get one of those crazy Taylor moments.
Exactly.
Online.
Like yelling at the cat. Yeah. Those are when you push me too far. And then people are like, why is she freaking out so much over something that doesn't seem like that big of a deal? Well, that was a very big deal. Yeah. But just because all of a sudden my reaction seems so extreme, because I'm really just pissed about all the other things that I didn't take care of myself.
And nobody's showing all the other things. Nobody, like, especially like on TV when you're like, when you have a moment,
right?
When you have a little mini moment, and then it's captured, it's like they don't show like all the things that led up to the mini moment, right? Like in reality, you're not like losing your short fused or losing your cool, or like it's like, no, man, actually I'm cooler than the majority of all people, which is what the problem is for like way too long. And then when it finally hits you, you just like don't know how to control it. You're like, it comes out all sideways.
It's so me. And I started out trying to tell her, you need to move. I was really nice. Then we gave her because she didn't move then.
It's been like 6 months.
Then we gave her the 30-day notice. Yeah. And then she didn't move then. And then now I'm just getting, and then her friends are there. Yeah. And then when I kicked her friends out, or whatever we want to call these people, she was like, you embarrassed me. Excuse me? Wait,
what?
Yeah. She said it was embarrassing to her that I kicked her friends out.
Well, thank God.
Who were standing in my living room unannounced.
I hope it was embarrassing. And I'm not sorry.
But the audacity, I'm like, is this a real life
You're
conversation?
In the Twilight Zone.
I am totally in the Twilight Zone. And as if I have time to deal with this shit, with everything else. Kennedy's getting ready to go to college. I've got obviously the show. I've got the meme coin. I've got so much going on in my life that I just keep putting this on the back burner. But it has to go to the front burner.
That's the thing. And it has to go like number one, get it off the list.
It has to get off the list because it's in the back of my mind all the time.
Yeah. It's stressful. It's like an underlined, rock. It's a rock. It's one of the rocks you need to set down.
Yeah. I mean, also, I think maybe in some weird way, I don't want to have to confront her anymore because it's just going to
she clearly doesn't respect you.
Doesn't respect me. And I'm nervous that it's just going to explode and get really, really toxic. And she's going to be super nasty. She's already said some really negative things about me. Mm-hmm.
And it's hard because she's like close to your daughter's age. So then they have a relationship. So then she starts pulling the Kennedy card, and like, she's just an inappropriate person all around. Like, honestly, the way she conducts herself. So, and she doesn't respect herself, honestly. So I don't know how she can respect anybody else. I think there's there's a whole unraveling that could happen there at some point in her life, right? But you can't affect your life anymore. And like, no matter how nice you are, at some point you have to protect yourself. Like how we say, protect your brain. Right. You have to like protect yourself from these. And when they say toxic relationships, she's not even trying to not be toxic. She doesn't care. She just needs either a place to keep her stuff, or she has no place to go, but clearly she's not there all the time. So where is she?
That's what I was wondering too.
And where did the baby go?
The baby is with her mom. Like she's not, doesn't even have the baby with her, but she hasn't had the baby with her for a few months. And so I thought that the baby was staying with her mom so that she could move her stuff out.
Right.
So I feel at this point, what do you think about this idea? What if I give her like a list of dates, like maybe 3 or 4 options and some certain hours, and just say, I will be out of the house completely. So you don't have to worry about running into me or John.
Right.
And these are the hours that are available for you to move your stuff, which I shouldn't have to do that in my own house. I should not have to leave my own home, but I'm happy to do it. And then I'll just have the bodyguard there.
Yeah.
And he'll just be sitting downstairs, making sure that nothing goes out the door that shouldn't.
And if you do not move your stuff by this time, it will be moved into, I looked into my whatever, where I'm allowed to do legally, and I will be removing your things from my home.
All right, that's the next step.
And and honestly, that's a fair warning that she doesn't deserve at this point, but I know who you are, and like you're trying to give her every single chance to do the right thing, and she's like not doing it, so I don't think she'll do it even then, but like at this point I feel like your stuff should just be outside and the locks should be changed. But yeah, but you tell her like, okay, on a day that works on your schedule,
right?
Like on the 22nd, whatever, you've got between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. to get everything out of here. Like get your friends, get whoever, and get it out of here. If it's not out by 10 p.m. and put it in writing, don't tell her, like put it in writing, and then say if it's not out of here by this date, it's all going to get discarded, not thrown away, but removed from the home.
All right, that's the next step.
Yeah, that's what I think you should do for sure.
It's too much.
Yeah, this people pleasing stuff is exactly why I think a majority of people are in swinger relationships, because one person's like, I want to do this, and you're like, okay. Because you feel bad. You want them to be happy. You don't want to hurt them. You want them to have everything they want, but yet you're sitting there like, I don't really want to do this.
Right. And then does that also, okay, the other thing I think in swinger relationships is one person is getting the short end of the stick.
All the time.
Okay, pardon the pun. But the odds that both couples, both partners are hot, that all 4 of you are going to be hot is like very unlikely unless you're like in your 20s or something. So one person is going to end up with the unattractive one. Like your husband gets to hook up with the hot wife, and then you get stuck with the not hot husband.
So really, it's just the 2 hot people that are like, you're so hot, I need to totally ruin my relationship just to be with you. So let's just tell our whatever is that they can get involved too. Because that's exactly how that goes down, right? And then you have like a menage a trois or whatever, and the whole thing's like hooking. Like, okay, is it all together, or do you like separate into separate bedrooms? Like, do you just switch spouses and go somewhere else and do it?
Yes.
Or
you switch spouses.
But you're not like all doing it together in the same room.
No, I think that's more like an orgy, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, the experiences that I have been told about living in Vail were that you pair off in maybe separate rooms in the same house, but not all 4 of you together.
That's interesting. And then like the place in Palm Springs, what's it called?
The movie colony?
The movie colony. Yeah, like the nudist, it's like a nudist colony. And oddly enough, okay, here's the thing. So my ex, his mom was like part of a nudist colony. His mom is part of a nudist colony, was part of a nudist colony when he was a kid.
Wait, your ex-husband's mother.
Not my husband, my boyfriend.
Oh,
like
your
ex-boyfriend's
guy I dated was a nudist.
Yeah, she was a nudist, but she took him to this place, and he told us, yes, and he told a story, and he's a little bit of a, like, got sexual issues.
Oh, well, maybe that's why.
Like, he's a chronic cheater, like, all these things. I think this honestly maybe impacted him, like, as a child. But, like, he'll tell his story about how, like, at this nudist colony, which is kind of, I think, like the movie colony, like, there was, like, a food bar, like, you go up and order food or whatever, like, and he said he was, like, probably 8 or 9 years old, and he goes up to order lunch at the counter, and everybody's naked, and he's, like, he remembers, and he vividly has, like, this vision of this woman sitting on a bar stool, but, like, with her vagina and everything totally out, like, full muff, and he's, like, and I remember just, like, turning, and my head was, like, at the same level as her bar stool.
Oh, my God.
And I'm, like, this is your childhood memory? Like, I think that if that happened today, people would call that child abuse.
100%. But I can't believe they let children go in
That's
there.
what I'm saying. Like, I don't think they would allow, like, today. Like, that was common back in, what was it, the 60s or something?
Yeah, maybe when all that, like, free
70s.
love
It was
was
the
around
70s.
and all of that, I guess. But
late 60s.
Also, most people don't look good naked. I don't want
No,
to look
it's a
around
bunch
at a
of,
bunch
like,
of naked people.
Nobody wants to see
I mean, it's
it.
never Elle McPherson hanging out at the nudist colony.
No, it's some crazy dude with like a Speedo on. Oh my God, have you ever been
No,
to
they
like,
don't wear a Speedo. There's
oh
no
my
Speedo
God, I'm
involved.
still traumatized by Desert Hot Springs when I was like a kid and this dude came out in his Speedo and I'd never seen a Speedo like on a grown man. And he was totally like wearing a Speedo and it was so like,
In your face?
yeah, like it was in my face. And I think I was probably like, I remember it and it was literally red and I still remember it. It's like a
Oh.
red Speedo, and that's like all he had on. It was like crazy, and I think I was like traumatized by that. And I was probably like 10. We were at Desert Hot Springs. My
Ew.
mom was like taking us on what she could afford as a single mom, like
Aw.
vacation, which would be, of course, like anything in Arizona or somewhere hot. So it was like Palm Springs, Desert Hot Springs, like anywhere it was like $40 a night.
But when people go to the nudist colonies, maybe you have insight from your ex-boyfriend. Are they trying to hook up with other people, or is it just a freedom of expression?
I think it's freedom of expression.
Okay.
Like, so that's what I was saying. Like, I think like they just go, they hang out. There's like a restaurant, there's a pool. You like can do different things. And I think you just walk around naked and everybody just, I don't know if it's like you just want to be without clothes and natural, you know, like I have a right to be a natural human. Like, I don't know what the whole thinking of it is. Like, I would not be into going to a nudist.
Me neither. And I don't want to look at naked people. I really don't. But also the restaurant thing is like creepy as hell. And also you're going to sit yourself on a seat and then somebody else is going to sit down with no pants on.
That's what's so weird about the Asian spas, like in Irvine. Like we were talking about the Asian spas in Irvine. That's not a nudist colony, but like if you talk about iSpa in Irvine, there's like people just walking around they have all these stations, like a cold station, a sauna station, like all these things. My girlfriend invites me. She's like, okay, just let you know. I was like, yeah, that sounds like fun. You get a massage, you go to all these stations. She's like, yeah, just so you know, it's a full nudity. It's fully nude. And I was like, no, I'm good. I think I'll pass.
Yeah, but you're sitting still on all the stuff that everybody else is sitting on too.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like everybody's still sitting. I mean, you're still.
With the restaurant thing, it's taking no shoes, no shirt, no service to
like
a
whole new level.
Different level. I mean, most restaurants don't let you not have a shirt on. This is just nothing at all. You're just going to sit and eat next to people that are completely naked.
You have like your chest hairs falling out.
It's so weird to me. I don't know. I mean, I would say we should go to one just so we're not judgy, but I don't think I can.
Oh my gosh, we should totally just go to it and film it. We should like go in for the experience. Maybe we'll just be the weird people that are wearing the shorts they give you.
Do they let you?
Yeah, so like you can. That's the thing. That's how you always know, because it's a cultural thing. Because when you look at it, like if you go there, because I did go there, but I was like the weird one
in the spa.
Yeah, I was weird. Like if I like almost to the point where like I wouldn't go back because you're like weird that you're not naked.
Got it.
Like, there's the self-conscious girl.
Right,
yeah, like it's like you're the one that's like too scared to take your clothes off. Like it's so weird. Peer pressure now to take your clothes off. But like it's like it's cultural. Like all the only other people that were like had the little short suit things on that they give you are Caucasian.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was not just Asian culture in there, but also Hispanic culture. Like they were all like participating. My girlfriend's Russian, and it was like no big deal to her. And like I don't know, but like all the Caucasian people are kind of like, and I think a lot of it is I don't know, and I don't know if it's a self-confidence thing, but like you're not supposed to look. So like you're like talking to somebody.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, like they say
trying
hi.
not to look.
You're like hi, and you're like, where do I look? Like hi. And then you're like weird for trying to not look, and like it's just like a whole situation that
it just makes it worse when they tell you not to look.
Yeah, I don't know how to act.
You would just probably naturally not look until they tell you not to look. It's like when you see someone doing something, you tell your friend like, okay, don't look now, and the minute they just immediately turn their head, you're like, I just said don't look now.
Yeah.
Okay, really don't look now.
So that's part of like your conditioning, right? As a kid, like my mom probably like you see your mom changing, she's like, oh, I'm changing, don't come in, or like you know what I mean? Where like culturally maybe someone else is changing and they don't care. They're like, oh, hey, something like, getting dressed. Maybe mom's just getting dressed normally and not worried about the other kids coming in. It's interesting, like what everybody's, like I always say everybody's dinner table is different. Like what that looks like how you act, what you cook, like what's acceptable, what's not. I remember going to a friend's house in high school and her mom served everybody wine. And it was like, you want a glass of wine, Gemma? And I'm like, what? No. Like it was like weird. And she's like, oh, you guys don't drink wine. And it was like a thing. And I was like, no, my family doesn't drink wine, but especially not the kids.
But to your point about the cultural thing,
Yeah.
that's definitely more of a European, raise your kids drinking wine. And that's probably why they have less alcoholism than we do, because their kids are exposed to it and doesn't feel like it's super taboo.
Right.
But with the naked thing too, saying like all the different cultures that are open to that, in Europe, of course, they have nude beaches, and it's just more of an open thing to be
Right.
naked. I don't
Yeah.
know. I feel like we're being judgy about it.
Well, I'm not, no, it's not that I'm being judgy. It's that I don't even know how to be that person that's like so mentally free that like, I mean, it sounds like it could be fun, but I just wouldn't, I would literally be crawling out of my skin because I don't know where to look. I don't know how to act. I don't know how to just exist. I mean, I could do it, but I would be there the whole time. Like, are you looking at me? What's happening there? Like, is my boobs okay? Like, is that okay? Like, what,
I need a spray tan.
like, yeah, am I too white? Like, I mean, just the amount of anxiety that it would cause me to just, I don't know, be naked.
I couldn't do it for
Like,
sure.
and I think that's the thing. Like, if it's a nudist place that you go to be nude, like a nude beach or something, like, okay, where do you take off your clothes and how far do you have to walk to get to where you're going naked before you get there? Like, if I think I could like take off my clothes and just like lay on the towel. I totally would be cool with that.
Like
I could
face
do that.
down.
Yeah, like face down, or like I could probably even do face up if I had to, like on a beach. But like, if somebody had to like come talk to me, or I had to like get my things naked and like walk with my thighs jiggling like somewhere else,
snack bar.
I would be totally mortified by myself. Like I couldn't even to a snack bar and then stand there naked and order like some sushi or something crazy. I couldn't do it.
Maybe it's a good diet plan though, because you don't want to eat anything because you're naked and you feel like I'm self-conscious anyway,
There's
and
no
now
way
I don't
you're
want to
gonna
eat anything
eat naked. Actually, that's interesting.
Eating naked.
Eating naked.
Well, okay, so there's also that version of Survivor that's Naked and Afraid.
Oh my
where
gosh,
not
yeah.
only is it Survivor, but now you're actually naked at the same time. So you're sleeping on the ground
That's
with
crazy.
no clothes on.
I've seen that one. I've seen that show.
And, that
Naked
first
and
of all,
Afraid.
my fear of snakes. So
Yeah.
that would never happen for me to do Survivor, period. But definitely not naked. It just takes it to like a whole nother level with bugs and everything
Those
that's
people
out there
get all kinds of bug bites and stuff. They have to get
in
shots.
all kinds of weird places.
They have to get all kinds of shots, like malaria, like all these shots and stuff they have to get before they go on that show. And then have you seen some of the people? I've seen the show like 2 times, and one of them was this woman was covered like in bug bites, and they're like trying to make like loincloths out of
Oh,
big
they're allowed to make a
leaves.
loincloth?
Yeah, like they totally
Oh.
go and they make like their own. Well, or they don't.
Oh, I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, I've only seen it a couple times too, but
Yeah.
that one is weird. And then there's
What a crazy
also
concept for a show.
that I know, right? And then VH1 for a while had a show called Dating Naked, but I think it got censored too
Oh.
much, and so because I think they were just having to blur everything out. So even though you still got of course they had to
what's
blur
the
everything
point?
out, so you
Right, like,
you kind of have the premise and you see them all blurred. But that would be weird. Like I'm gonna go out on a date with you and we're gonna be naked the first time I meet you.
You really gotta want to be on TV, man. Like that is like that is
reality
like
TV
they offered me
desperation.
the show and I'm going on it. Like that is like they want me to be naked and I'm gonna do it. Like I don't think anybody like is like sitting at home like that's the show that if I had to choose any show or reality show I wanted to be on, they'd be like, I'm gonna be on Naked and Afraid. Or like Naked and Dating, which is
Yeah.
way worse. I think
Yeah.
Naked and Afraid, at least you're proving to yourself like I can survive on my own. I can figure this out. Like, I think there's some kind of gratification that they're after as well. But Naked and Dating, that's like, I just want to be on reality TV.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
Naked and Afraid is, I think, more primal, like,
Yeah.
going back,
Yeah.
and, self-sufficient. I can kind of a little bit more see that one. I wouldn't be able to do it. But then the dating naked thing, I just can't imagine getting to know someone with no clothes on. It's fascinating to me a little bit. And then going on the show, maybe it's all the people that don't get accepted for Housewives.
That's what I'm saying.
Or The Bachelor.
I know. I hate to say this, but I think Housewives is probably a couple notches up from Dating Naked. Like, I mean, that's really like, they had no other show to be on.
Right.
And so I took Dating Naked.
They're definitely not
God.
hiring us. I know that. We're not even in the running for these shows at all.
Oh my God,
God.
it's so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I do think there is one guy that I know who he did a big hotel, like a
Yeah.
nudist hotel weekend retreat.
Yeah.
I think we should talk to him and just see, like, he could probably tell us some wild stories.
Oh
A
my
whole entire
God.
hotel. I think it was like 250 people. They were all naked in this hotel.
You know what's so crazy is I don't feel like anything is shocking anymore. Like,
Oh yeah.
you know what I mean? I feel like all like whatever you can imagine or like, and that's something that's happened recently to me. Like just with that, so I hate to say since the beginning of the vid, right? Just everything that's happened in the last 4 years, like you're just shell shocked. Like you could tell me the craziest story, and I'd be like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
like it wouldn't even be like nuts. But then sometimes I am like, I don't get it. But then I'm like, maybe it's just my head. It's just like,
We're so desensitized.
yeah, like we're desensitized for so much information. Like nothing seems shocking, right?
I
It's
know.
crazy.
Okay, I think that we should talk to this guy that had the naked hotel.
What do you want to say? You want to hear the stories?
I want to hear the story.
Yeah, like,
And I want to
okay.
know what he thinks. Like, is this
Do you have to pay to go?
freedom of expression, or yeah, I think it's a whole like retreat weekend. And
See, I think that people should be selected based on merit. No, just kidding.
based on
I don't
their
think-
body measurements.
Yeah, I don't think that you should be able to buy a ticket to that. Or like maybe half the people they get to come for free, like how Patty has her singles thing, right? Like if
Patty
you're
Stanger.
yeah, like
Yeah.
if you make it a certain like demographic or something, it's free. And then like if you don't meet a certain demographic, you have to pay.
It's like Millionaire Matchmaker. You mean?
Yeah, it's like crazy.
You have to be
Right?
vetted.
Yeah, you have to be vetted. I
Just
think
send
you
in pictures of yourself
should,
naked.
something like I mean, because what if you pay like $500? There's no like viable options.
But that's my question for him. Is this a hookup thing?
Yeah.
Or is this just freedom of expression? I need to know if which.
Well, if
maybe
it's a sex hotel, it's a hookup thing. If
Yeah.
it's like a
nudist hotel.
empowerment hotel, like right, where you're empowering yourself to be like, then it
Right.
could be like whatever. Like, yeah, there's definitely different ways to go about it, right? Are you naked and doing drumming circles and sound baths, or are you getting naughty?
Is it getting in touch with like your inner self and shedding, sharing your naked truth?
Yeah,
as opposed
exactly.
to,
Like I could see that.
Maybe it's that. Maybe it's a whole like bonding experience, or maybe there's different versions. I don't
Yeah.
know. I think we
And
have to
as
talk to him.
crazy as all these things are, I could actually see it being like not the sexual part, right? But like the being nude part. Like I can see like the naked truth or stripping down in front of other people or everybody being vulnerable together. I could see that turning into some kind of like, I don't know, life-changing moment or some kind of breakthrough for some
wellness
people.
retreat or-
Like for something just to be that vulnerable in front of other people. I think it could be a thing, like emotionally, but the full on, like, I don't know, like you just got to be real bored with your sex life or something. And then you're like, I got to find something because it's like, I don't know, like you're just really bored. And so you're like, I'm going to go to a sex hotel and have sex with a bunch of people. And then like the thing is like once it's over, then what?
I don't know. I guess you sign up for the next year if you had fun.
Then you get to get drunk with your friends and tell stories about all the crazy people at the sex hotel. And it's like, you're cool now. I don't know. I don't get it. It's just crazy to me.
I don't either. We're going to do some more research on this one.
Yeah.
All right. I'm looking into it.
Again, I need more hobbies. I need to spend more time on doing things that have no end result or meaning to them.
Oh my God, Gemma. All right. I'm going to get a hold of this guy and get us some answers. I'll be back to you with all the answers.
Okay, all of them?
Yes, all of them.
Okay, maybe more
Details.
questions.
Yeah.
Sounds
Okay, until
good.
next time, we're going to talk about this.
Okay, sounds great.